I'll tag you. Okay. Soul Speaks 5D, and the guest is sitting right next to me.
Technically, I'm not a guest.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No,
Here we go.
I am a guest.
Okay, this is live. So anything you say from this point forward,
forever hold your peace.
Forever hold your peace. Forever hold your peace. That's not the way it goes.
I'm just kidding.
It will be held against you. Obviously, you've never been arrested before.
I've been detained once. Almost went to the restroom in my pants.
Really?
Yeah, I was that scared.
All right, so here we go. We're getting some people in. We got 2 people in the house. We've been getting suppressed.
Yeah, Izzy. Hey. What?
All right, hang on. All right, here we go. Okay, there's Jana.
Jana, you say it Jana.
Jana, I say
Jana.
it right. Jana.
You know, I said it right because of how you pronounced her name, and then you said it again, and you actually said it wrong.
I don't think I ever said it right. I kept saying Zana.
Yeah, you said Zana, and I said it's Jana.
Jana.
And I pronounced this to her, and she was like, "Oh my God, Izzy, you say my name so right." It's because
Jana. Jana.
Yeah, like one of my favorite people of all time, Jana. Definitely gonna cry when I see her at the next Soulogy Fest, but tears of joy.
So, all right, you're in the hot seat, and I saw you on Julie Pershin's show. That was interesting.
Yeah, no, that was.
I found out things I didn't know about you.
What? Like what?
61 years old. How good.
61. God damn it.
Oh, you know what it was? You were talking about the 2-2. Because that was a big day.
Oh, the 2-2, the portal?
You're talking about the February 22nd, right?
Yeah, maybe I told her before I told you, because I told you, I think we went out the other
night.
night.
Saw you talking to her. Well, it didn't matter to me. Yeah. I'm just saying that I didn't realize, like, because we don't have a lot of young people come on the show, but you were actually talking about what was going on with you in the same manner that we talk about on this show. And you're 22 years old.
I'm going to be 22, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know, I am his daughter. I recently, well, I'm still going through this. Recently, I went to Mulberry Mountain, which, if anybody does not know too, my dad, the crossing street he stays on is Mulberry Street. It's pretty ironic. Everybody that came to Mulberry Mountain did not come out the same. And I'll speak for myself. Definitely, I've had multiple spiritual awakenings in my life, but the one after I got off this mountain just changed my life rapidly, drastically. You know, in the process of an awakening and awareness, it's not going to be all peaches and cream. There's going to be a lot of, tears and your heartbreak and going to the roots. I feel like the last 3 months, last 2. Oh shit! Did I do something?
Just keep going.
I'm sorry.
Put your hands down.
Okay. That's what Cindy told me to do too last time.
Put your hands down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The last 2-3 months, I have been having intense dreams, but I think it was like 2% of depression that kept me in my bed, and the rest, 98%, was just spiritually. Like, I would wake up and just remember everything, everywhere I went. Actually, out of all my family members, the 2 people that I travel a lot with up there is you and Denise. I don't think I've ever told you that. Y'all be in my dreams a lot.
So you're for 3 months in bed.
I can't get out of bed. Like, I mean, I'll be glued to my bed, and I will sometimes get up and the sun's already gone down, and I would, smoke some marijuana or take some, melatonin, drink some tea, and I'm like, what? What's going on?
Was this the end of last year?
This was right now.
Now.
This just magically fixed on 222.
Okay, I got you.
something activated in me, and I've just, I've been a much different since, and thank God, because it was kind of scary for me. Like I kind of felt myself kind of like like something's wrong with me, and then I thought something was wrong with me in my heart and stuff, but it's my heart chakra was activated when I went to Mulberry Mountain, and in my stomach. I don't know what chakra that's called. In your stomach.
Solar, sacral, in the stomach, solar,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So this and that was activated. I'm assuming that the other bottom chakras are going to be activated when I go to Arizona. I just don't know. I have a feeling. But yeah, so definitely after Mulberry Mountain, I've always had a very small friend group my whole life. I've never really connected with people as much. I mean, as much as Soulogy, this is the much people I've connected with like this. Like, yeah. And, other places, like, I'm always very secluded. I've always been like by myself. I'm much different than others, but not different from,
These
us
people.
Starwood Seeds and everyone. We're all like, yeah. Felt like home when I went to Soulogy. It was like one of the best moments of my life. Can't wait for the next one, but yeah, just I feel like, so I don't know who said this. I think somebody said this to Kate. I think someone said this to Kate. It was a man that said this to her. I don't know his name. He said, "Y'all are going to that mountain? Oh, have fun. Because I promise you, y'all will not come out the same."
Mm.
She didn't tell me until afterwards. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't have told me like when we were going up the mountain. I would have been like, "Bye, just went." No, I wouldn't have done that.
I heard you when you were talking to Julie. You literally woke up. You said on February 22nd. You heard a click or something.
Yeah, I just heard. Are you looking for the restroom?
Here, keep talking.
Oh.
There.
It's not that I heard exactly a click. It was just like boom, like just snap. Everything was totally different. Like I was fully here. Like I feel like everybody has different soul work, and I feel like more of, not calling anybody old here, but I'm just saying the older crowd of generational, like, soul things, they are dealing with a lot of ancestral galactic things, like and within, but I don't know. I feel like my dad has done a lot of that, and that's why I don't feel any of that. But I feel like even before Mulberry, my dreams were always intense. I always felt like I was somewhere else. Yeah, like, but it got more intense afterwards. I mean, for December and January, I was like, I'm serious. Like, I went to the doctor. Like, I was like, there's something wrong with me. And there's nothing.
Were you having, somebody asked, were you having heart palpitations?
Yeah, I thought I was, and I wasn't. I was drinking a lot of water, taking my vitamins, and I even stopped smoking weed as much. And I just thought that maybe that was it. But no, it's something just beyond, like the last few days, I've been feeling extremely in heat. I've been feeling like my body's on fire. And one of my jobs, I work at a food truck, so I'm in the truck, but it has like a lot of AC, and it has like 4 big fans on the ceiling. And I even asked the cooks, like, because they're in the fryers and stuff. I'm the cashier, and they're not even hot, and I'm anemic. So I'm like, okay, wait, something is not going on right, But then other starseeds like myself, my dad, Kate, Cindy, they've been saying they've been in extreme heat too. So it's just really for, especially people like us, the collective that, are raising all of this, frequencies and stuff, vibrations. We feel more things than others. I mean, I've always felt more, but definitely on the 222, I felt my light body activate. I'm not saying I feel it fully, but I do feel it. Mm-hmm. I was shocking like everything when I was in the grocery store. I was like, good thing there's nobody around me. They would have been like, So.
Yeah. Tamara Biddle saying that she did that too. She thought she was depressed. Those last few weeks, her body got real hot, like a fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, since you were a kid, you always were, you already had the sight
Yeah.
from a very young age. Of all the kids, everyone knew it.
Yeah, me and
you,
Teddy, we well, not to cut you off, what are you saying?
No, I'm just saying that you were always very sensitive to it. It was a struggle, like for a lot of these people, it was a struggle because they were so different. Um, ha- has your experiences or you talked about astral traveling have has it become easier? Are you becoming more? Are you having deeper experiences or more experiences? You know, now
Ever,
that
ever,
since this 22 February.
no,
No, okay.
it's gone. Yeah. So the day of 222, well, 222, 3 twos. I was outside and it was like the third day I caught the sun because sometimes I would catch the sun, but it would already be down. And I'm telling you, I would take sleep medicine and like it did not help. It didn't matter. So it was like around 2 o'clock, and I think it was even at 2:22. I go outside and I have a balcony, and there's like this big tree, and there was this little bird, and it wasn't a pigeon, so it wasn't like a robot. It was an actual bird, and it was having a staring contest with me. Like I'm not even kidding, and I literally like birds are like one of my spirit animals. I mean, I feel like they're kind of everybody's. There's a lot of spirit animals, a lot of spirit guides in like different shapes and forms, but like for me, birds and butterflies and moths for some reason are like very like, connected to me. And I have the picture on my phone. I'll show you after this. This bird was literally staring at me, and it was a good like 5 minutes with this bird. It was like this little teeny little bird. It was so cute.
What'd you get out of it?
That's when I felt completely activated.
Mm.
So I went to the grocery store like a few hours later, and boom, I started shocking everything. And I mean, it was specifically in the produce section. I know it's normal to do that sometimes, but it was everywhere I went, and I was just kind of like, okay, let me just get out of here real fast, get what I need, and then I'm gonna go. So
You said after Soulogy Fest or during the transformation you've been having into last year, into this year, you lost a lot of friends.
oh, everyone, friends that I've been friends with, he's even met all of them, and I've not really had much friends. I think out of all of your children, I am the one that has the least amount of friends, which isn't bad. It has nothing to do with like, oh, you know, I'm not that friendly or stuff. It's just because all of us are so different. I mean, I've been seeing things and feeling things that, most people just cannot. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, like, I'm not saying they can't fully, but I'm just saying like more of the human race now, I mean, is more awake than ever, but you know what I mean? But um yeah, so when I was a little kid, like I remember coming home from school and I would tell my parents that I'd see colors in people's face, and like I remember I was 8 years old and I told my mom that I shouldn't be here, that I've already came here too many times. She was just like,
And many
did
other
she ever
things.
tell you that?
I was there. What are you talking about?
You were there?
It went deeper than that. I mean,
Do you remember? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I can tell you this one.
Okay.
So, and Hung says you prefer a more mature circle of friends. That's true. You've always hung out with people older.
Yeah, a lot of my friends now are like they're like 40 years old. I mean, I've always been connected, but now, like recently, I mean, I told you about that couple I met that I've been going to raves and stuff with, and I thought they were like 25, like my age, and I was like, oh, I had to look at her ID, and I was like, whoa, you're not kidding.
How old are they?
She's almost 40.
Jeez.
You would.
They're old. That's a joke. That's a joke towards myself. Now, let me tell you. Let me tell you how deep. Okay, so you always So even you just know as a parent, you can just see it. This child was picking up stuff, and we're talking seeing my grandmother, and an hour later we get the news that she's passed. There are a lot of different things, but
that was before Grandma died.
But after I came off the street and we got reunited, me and a niece, and we got the townhouse, and I started the studio, the Soulogy One Studio part of Soulogy. So 2014, and we were obviously the three of us. We lived next door to a cemetery, by the way, and there was a lot of spiritual activity, and our family had been tied to this area for a long time. Like there was a lot going on. So me, you, and Izzy's and the baby, a niece, the youngest. So you guys are like what? 12, 13, 14, something like that. And you were having a lot of stuff go on in your sleep. Okay. And so you would like wake up with bruises and stuff, which a lot of these people can relate. And so I had a friend that I'd met online. We were very kindred, a very wonderful lady from Austria. And she was very lit. We had some Atlantis code happen, and stuff like that. So it was a legit connection. And so Izzy had something in her room, because by then my antennas were really, really acute, and there was some kind of bullshit going on, and it was some entity, and I already knew enough to know that Izzy had carried in a lot of ancestral lineage stuff, because that we had in common. And so what happened was I went into the room, and not having enough of Morgan Lee's influence yet, and I was still too masculine, I told the spirit, get the fuck out of here, and it left. But as I came to understand, as everybody knows, that's not how you do that, right? So it came back. And so me and my friend, I told her about it because she was a facilitator and practitioner. And so I went downstairs and laid on the couch. You were laying in bed, you were asleep. And then her and I coordinated it. We hung up or whatever, or stopped messaging, and we met there. And this whole thing happened. And your mother, because Izzy's mom had passed away a couple of years earlier, your mother came. My friend was there. It was, and you. I watched the three of you around, like there was a light coming out of your body, and there was the corporal body was there, right? And then you were turned on your back, on your stomach. A cross got cut like straight down your spine, across your shoulder blades, and all this black goo came out.
Wasn't it like red, like a cross?
No, it was just a cut. It was just like somebody cut it. All this black goo came out. Y'all were dancing in a circle, and it went up into the light. And then the next day, the very next day, we were hanging out or whatever. I think we were going to go to the store, and you said, "Dad, there was a ship. There was a UFO outside my window." And you're like, "Do you believe me?" And I'm like, "Of course I believe you." Right. So then we went downstairs and we walk outside and we look in the sky, and there was a red dot and a green dot. And this was like still daylight out. It wasn't like it was, the sun was starting to go down. And you're like, "Dad, you see that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I see that." And they came down, they came together, turned yellow, and shut off. So I don't know what the connection was.
That was so it's funny you bring that up, because what's that? Oh, I saw in one of these comments, Ryan Aguilar.
Yeah.
He said he met us at the townhome.
Yeah. Ryan. He was the first. Ryan is.
I'm trying to remember.
No, you wouldn't remember. He was the first person I ever talked about Soulogy in person, not online.
Mm-hmm.
I was bartending, and he would come in and have wings and beer.
Is he the one you went to La Tapatia with?
No. And then I don't know what you're talking about. And then
maybe you were alone.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I was alone.
Okay.
Then then, oh, you're talking about anyway.
Yeah.
So, and he was also the first one that ever came in the studio. Yeah, you were really young. Yeah, she was young, like 13. Yeah.
She was everywhere.
Dad, can I have a boy come over? I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
You did?
You
Who was
remember
it? Who was it?
I don't know. You're like, hey, Dad, can I have a boy come over? I'm like, yeah. What's his name? And you're like, his name is Jeremy. I'm like, how old is he?
His name was Shamar.
Or Shamar, whatever.
Yeah.
And you were like, he's 18. I'm like, yeah. Have him come over. Have him come over. And you're like, Dad, are you serious? And you like call the guy back. You're like, yeah, my dad said you can come over, man. You can come over. And he kept coming downstairs. Are you sure, Dad? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I want to come. Have him come over. Then you figured out. I was going to confront him when he came over. And you're like, no, don't come over, dude.
Yeah, so my dad has, still to this day, has a sarcasm that I just still take it for real.
I don't have a sarcasm, do I? So
you lied and said there was cake in the fridge.
Huh? So, okay. So I just wanted them to know how deep your stuff goes, and so it was kind of a because we talk now and then and everything, and life goes on. You're going to go to Soulogy Fest. I never even, because I had so much on my mind, I never gave it any thought, like what the impact would be on you, because I didn't even have time to think about anything. I was just running around like crazy doing stuff, and then after I got everything happened, and I got back and I got the videos, and then I was talking to Hung, and Hung was telling me, Izzy gave a speech at the beginning, and kind of like, I don't know how Hung put it, but I knew something big had happened, so I watched it, and then I heard all the stories, of course, everybody's stories, but it just seemed like it really kind of like lit you up. Do you have friends your age that are like you, or have you met many? No. And
so that's ironic because I've not cut you off, but I've never really met anyone that's my age. I think the only person I ever met was the last guy I was romantically involved with, but he wasn't like completely where I was because he wasn't with things he needed to be peace with. But he was 10 years older than me, so he's really not even my age. So honestly, no, like, and Josh, he felt a lot of things like aliens too, and mom, and a bunch of stuff. But actually, I do know somebody, Manira.
Okay.
Manira, she's in Arizona. Manira is one of my Manira's as my other two friends. They're like more in the 3D. They're not in the 5D.
When did you figure out that? Because again, you used to come home and you used to say, I can't hear people. I just see these colors around their faces. We'd be sitting at the kitchen table and she'd say, there's somebody standing over here. And again, we lived next door to a cemetery, and there was this one particular young girl spirit, probably like 5 or 6 years old, that was always running around the house. You were the first one to see it and point it out. How often? I mean, I know because these people can understand that they had no one to talk about these things with. Mm-hmm. And now things are a little bit different. How often do these things happen to you now? And have you gotten used to them happening?
Okay, so I would say a lot of things have accelerated over the years. So if anyone's not aware, I'm 22. I was born in 2001. And star seeds that are in my generation are a bit different, especially babies that are born now are naturally just born awake, which a lot of us really are supposed to be like that. But, due to the world we live in, the Matrix and all this shit that has demolished that the way it should be. But I was pretty woke completely until I was about 14, went through some trauma, went through some pain, till I was 18, 19, which was about 4 years ago. I'm about to be 22. Wow. Yeah, about when I was 18, but I was going to turn 19 in like 5-6 months. I started to come back to my abilities, my gifts, because for a long time I put it in the back of my head. I put everything in the back of my head, and then I just started to let go. And during that time is when COVID happened, when I was 19, and we entered another dimension. So it was like for people like me that have chose to, push that away. Well, the chosen ones have no choice. So I had no choice. Of course, not everything is great. That's what's good about telling stories, because you can say what's bad too, because that's part of the process. So, where should I go with this?
Well, you're COVID. Are you
Oh yeah, COVID. No. I'm
2020.
ADHD sometimes. So
That's cool.
yeah. So COVID. Yeah. It's just everything started falling back into place, and then 2021, my spiritual awakening came.
Really?
Yes.
What happened?
So I stopped taking my medication. I stopped dating terrible men. I lost everything. I lost everything I had. I had a bunch of, I got rid of everything. I lost a bunch of stuff. I lived in the nicest place I've ever lived in. All the furniture, all the clothes. And from right now in my life, I probably had the less clothes I've ever had in my life, but I feel the best. I don't know why. I like carrying light like my dad for some reason. Carrying light. Yeah, just everything kind of went, I lost my job. I lost everything. I lost my dog. I literally lost everything. And I went to zero again. And the only other time I went to zero was when I was homeless. I was homeless too. And it was in a way I went to zero, but not that extreme when I was way younger. But I'm entirely grateful for it, because it made me realize a lot. You know what they say, like you could have it all and not be happy, and someone that doesn't have much is happier. And it's true. Like none of that, materialistic stuff and money and all that.
Do you work with your abilities? Like, do you? I know you've like done readings for your friends. I'm not talking so much about that. Or you can if you want to. As far as like you were talking about, your former roommate had some type of attachment, so you were involved somehow or another with that. Do you actively try to remember what your gifts are, and do you try to use them?
So now it is just straight up. Izzy's intuition is 100%. I would say before Mulberry, it was a little bit over, it was beyond 50 for sure. It was probably 65. Now it's 100. Nothing can slide by me. Nothing. I'm automatically right every time. And I mean, sometimes it's a blessing. Sometimes it's a curse, because there's some things I don't want to know. I mean, not to get, down in the dumps, because there's never a loss. But when my mother died, I knew when she was going to die. I knew when she died, or when I felt it. So it's, I don't shut it off now. I just really there are times where I'm not around anyone. Like last night, I was at work a little bit and I decided to leave because I just was not feeling it. It was really weird. I felt like there was a shift that happened yesterday where it was when the sun came down, it was just I don't know what happened. And I just go in what I feel within. If I feel but most of the time Izzy is in solitude. And from the times I do go anywhere, I'll go somewhere around music, because music is my safe haven. I love being around music. But yeah, I mean, with my old friend that stayed with me, she was telling me about a sex demon that she's been hearing. And talking about this.
That's wild.
It's weird about this. Every time I talk about negative spirits, out of all places, like right here on my back, it's like I feel this. That's how I feel them. I mean, nobody could hurt me or nothing or get to me, but I'm just saying, like, just talking about it. So, which is fine talking about it. But yeah, so she stayed with me for a little bit, and it wasn't right when she stayed with me. It was like a month and a half later. And I have a 2-bedroom. So she was telling me that she like could not sleep by herself. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And she's telling me, and she brought it up to me, but then I start to feel something in my house. And I'm like, okay, I'm not scared because I have been, I don't like to say possessed because that makes me look like I'm an exorcist and my head comes off. That's not the right definition. I've had demons come in me and I've heard voices, which was that one time, I guess, before you pulled it out my back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we were at the
I don't know what that is. I mean, I've seen it in others too, but somehow or another, I think that I know what happened that night with the cross was ancestral.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much. Again, this was 2014, so I really hadn't been exposed to a lot of things because I hadn't been Morgan yet, to be honest with you. I wasn't familiar with the whole thing about healing ancestral lineage, but I knew that night that had something to do with what I instinctively knew, always knew, that you carried in like this grandmother soul to solve like multidimensional things. But what I was getting at or wondering about, because I think they might be connected. That's an aspect of you or something like that. I have worked with people early on, a couple of people in the physical where there was something going on, and no need to get into it, but there was definitely something going on. This to me seems a little bit different. So I was wondering, like, when did you, because I've heard you speak of this very knowingly, when did you go, I'm here to bring in some ancestral lineage into alignment? I'm doing this for much more than myself.
I don't think I've really reached that point because I don't even think I knew I was doing it when I was younger.
But at some point, you
I feel like when I move to Arizona, that's going to happen to me because
that you're going to.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've brought some ancestral lineage into alignment up to this point?
I would say maybe when I was younger because I feel like you've done most of it. I feel like
because you feel like when you move to Arizona that something's gonna something like that's gonna start coming
I feel
into
like
play.
something ancestral like you picked up too, but I also feel like my light body is fully gonna activate. Like fully. I'm not really scared, but I've been by myself, so if that means other people are by myself, I mean, it doesn't really affect me. I'm an introvert, but I mean, I don't really go to public places anymore. I don't really go to big crowds like I used to. I don't really like any of that. I remember when I was younger and going to the mall.
You were like freaked out.
Yeah.
No, you were the, you know what? You would be the baby in the carriage, or what do you call those things? Strollers. And somebody would walk up. You were cool with people, but like if a certain energy would walk up, not a particular person. Okay, keep it clean now. But I mean, like it wouldn't matter who it was. It could be a stranger, someone you knew, and you would freak the hell out. You would be like you were seeing like pure darkness. I mean, it was crazy.
What was I like?
And your mother respected that because your mother had the intuition, and your mother would respect it. If she saw that you weren't comfortable, she would respond to it. Yeah.
What was I? So did you see when I was a baby, I guess, that I was a bit different?
Yeah. From I think, of course, I have retrospect now. I mean, I'm like a lot of the people here. I mean, my sensitivities were shut down to a point, but by the time you were born, they were more part of my life than they had been because I was on my way out of the corporate world. But yeah, I could tell, I could tell you carried a lot. And then, by the time you were, like 2 years old, it was obvious. And then we're living next to a cemetery. So, you know, and you had a lot of imaginary friends, which we encouraged. We encouraged.
I did have an imaginary friend. I had an imaginary friend named Chloe. I remember her now. It was in Austin when we lived in that house.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yellowstone.
You had more than one, actually.
Did I really?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, different places, I think. What's the? I've never asked you this. Like, what's the craziest psychic, paranormal kind of thing that's ever happened to you?
Okay. Well, I kind of had something happen to me last night, but I don't think that's like the craziest. But the craziest has something to do with the aliens. So which one do you want me to answer? What happened last night?
Both of them.
Okay. Okay. So last night, for anyone, my birthday's in a month. I mean, in a week.
You're gonna be 40.
That makes you 100. I'm just playing.
You're gonna be 20.
I'm gonna be 22.
That doesn't change much.
I'm not gonna.
You're gonna be one.
I'm not gonna be 20. I'm gonna be 22.
Go ahead.
Okay, so last night, like I said, there was. I feel like it was my mother, but it could have been somebody else. I feel like it was my mom, though. And there was something that was holding me from leaving, and I already felt like
leaving what?
After I left work, I was gonna go somewhere last night, and something was just like not wanting me to leave. And then I started feeling somebody like put their arms around me. I started seeing somebody like follow me, but it wasn't bad at all. It was very familiar. I felt like it was my mom, because my mom is the only spirit recently too. I felt her a lot since, being around you and Anise and everything. She puts her arms around me, but she literally like puts her arms around me, and I can feel her legs next to my legs. And so I feel like it was my mother. Now, the scariest thing that's happened, scariest thing, I would say there's two of them. One's aliens and one's a demon. So I'll go with the aliens first. I was just talking about this with what's her name? Amber? What's her name? Amber. She, if she's watching this, talking about you, really cool lady. When I met her right now, I don't know if you heard me telling her this, but I felt like she was drawn to extraterrestrials like me, like the galactic, like, aliens like that. Like, I don't like to say like, they're different because we're all like ETs and stuff.
Star
like,
family.
Yeah. So I told her that, and she was like, what's funny is your dad told me the same thing.
Yeah.
So I started to share her with my stories because I have had about 5 encounters with aliens, probably a little bit more than that. Especially when I lived in the high rise downtown.
Tell us about them. You never told me this.
I never told you?
No. Do you know your Uncle Ty came on the show one time?
Yeah.
And the first thing he tells me is about an experience he had.
He saw aliens?
Yeah, when we lived together. I was like in high school and he was like in elementary school.
What did he say?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I want to hear about yours.
Okay, so I'll bring up the first time I saw aliens was with him, that he explained with what we saw in the sky. The second one was, and it was all in the townhome we lived in. The first 4 or 5 times. The rest of the times was as an adult. So the second time I was in my room, and when I was a kid, I used to watch National Geographic,
yeah.
National History, and Animal Planet. I like to watch all that stuff. So one thing I was really fascinated with before I even had any like experience with extraterrestrials was like, aliens, like the history behind it. So I would watch Ancient Aliens like all the time, especially going to grandma's house. Yeah. And so one day I was sleeping and I just I heard a huge roar, and it was like this light, but it wasn't like
A roar?
a roar.
Okay.
And then I just saw a huge light, and it was a spaceship, and I was like, what? And I go tell my dad, and I remember I told him, and then the third time, if I'm thinking about this now, which is really weird and strange, I feel like this was actually the same UFO. Because
Where was this one?
this was all in the townhome.
Okay.
And I mean, we saw one in the sky, and that was the first time.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, and so then the second time was when I saw it outside and heard it outside my window.
Yeah. I
And
remember that.
so the third time I was walking from school. Walking from the school bus, and I've always been like my dad, like have headphones in all the time. I have headphones in. All of a sudden, I kind of started seeing like leaves like doing this, and I'm just like, it's not even windy. I look up, and there's this huge UFO, invisible, hovering over me, and I'm like, there's nobody behind me, and I'm just like, this is even before I even was smoking weed and everything.
I remember this.
I was like,
I
there's
remember this. These actually
was
happened
like-
around the same time. Or it all happened around the same
Yeah,
time.
I was like, this is definitely real. So then the fourth time was I was sleeping in your room, because whenever you would, do Soulogy and everything, you were downstairs in the living room sleeping on the couch. I slept, and I also slept with the lights off. We'll get into this, why I sleep with the lights on and everything. We were just talking about this out there too. And I was alone, and I just remember it was 5 a.m., like 5:45 a.m. I had school that day. And I remember it was not sleep paralysis. I was awake. Well, when you're awake, you have sleep paralysis, but you're also like kind of dreaming too, I think, right?
I don't know. Keep going.
So,
Because you were conscious.
I was very conscious, and I know when you have sleep paralysis, you're not really conscious, because I've had that before, and it's scary. And this wasn't completely scary, but it wasn't like a scary, like sleep paralysis. So I'm like, my head is like right here, and like it's dark, and a pillow's right in my face, and I just remember I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. And the aliens like moved my hair and talked in my ear. I don't know what they said. I couldn't understand them. But you know who I did hear say who talked this language? Linda.
Oh.
She actually spoke their language. She heard
there's
it.
probably some connection there.
Yeah. When I was able to get up, I saw 3 invisible alien heads outside the window, and I was like, oh my God.
What they look like?
They were actually, it was 3 black invisible. Well, it looked like it was black because it was at night, but it was invisible. And there were 3, and they were
like translucent.
They were like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Your mother had several experiences as a child, and your sister,
Anise?
Lauren,
yeah,
has had some too, and your brother. I'm sure your brother, my brother, for sure.
Yeah. And then as an adult, actually, I forgot about this. I saw Pleiadians, and Cindy in this room.
In this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like the 3rd or 4th time I spent the night here at Cindy's. And there were blue people in the room I was staying in, and I was freaked out and turned the light on. So this is a fun fact about me. I'm 22 and I still sleep with the light on, and more than ever. Why? Because when I go to sleep, I see too many beings. I see too much, especially after Mulberry Mountain.
You've always done that.
I see too much. It isn't like freak. Like the other night when we hung out, I came home and there was like beings circling my bed, and I was like, "Yep, not doing this. Not even with the color light on. I'm having the light on." It's like, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
So yeah, because people have come on the show and they have that level of sensitivity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you turn it off? Can you? Do you ever? I mean, or does it feel like they're just walking by, like they're just?
Yeah, they'll do this. They will be over me and they'll fly over me. They will circle me and they'll fly over me.
Wow.
So, like the last night, I felt mom. She was there for a little bit. She left. And then, yeah, that time with you. And then this also did happen. So, remember I sent you a picture of a little triangle right here over my heart, my chest?
Yeah.
And you were like, keep doing what you're doing. So, I happen, because in life you have multiple connections, you have multiple soulmates for different aspects of yourself in the relationship with everyone. Everybody in you's relationship is going to be different in the connection, everything. So somebody is it's funny because I've never met somebody that looks like an alien so much, and it's this guy, which we're just friends. We're just friends, and we'll always just be friends. He slept over one night, and we just went to sleep. And I woke up, and before I woke up, he loves the dark, and I was just like, I don't like the dark, and he's like, just let it go. So I was like, all right. I turned the light off, and not even like 10 minutes, I see an alien in the room, and he feels it, and he doesn't see it, but I feel it and see it. So I'm like, hey, it's kind of worse for me. And so then I just eventually just closed my eyes, but the alien was like, it's the same thing. I feel like beings, aliens, angels, they kind of all do kind of the same thing.
Do you ever try to connect to them, or do you ever feel compelled to connect to them?
No. I already know.
Or not only connect, but like
talk to them.
Have a conversation.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's why I don't feel like it, and now it just comes to me because I feel like when I was younger, like when I was 13, 14, and I mean it was my intuition, everything, I was still the same Izzy, but I think it was a little bit more different then. I would talk to people all the time on the other side, and I just feel like I did it so much that I just kind of got a calling after, I got older and everything, that it just wasn't meant to be like that. It was just,
Well, okay. So that's the period. So that would have been about 2.5 years. So the three of us were in that townhouse. That's when all the Star Family and Starship sightings happened. That's when you didn't put it on the back burner until you left. So so for that 2.5 years, because remember, we had all kinds of stuff going on. We had remember when I opened the front door and I wouldn't close it for 6 months? I was told to open the door, and I just had the glass door.
Oh my God, I remember
and all that noises and stuff, and then that dead squirrel showed up.
That house.
See that all that was, but see, and we were next to a cemetery. I'm wondering if the souls that you were encountering and talking to were in that cemetery, because there was a lot of activity. I was communicating.
Oh yeah, that cemetery I went to a lot, and you know what's really strange is, sorry, I had some in my nose. But you know what's really, let me put my arm here, sorry, because I know. You know what's really strange is I've never seen a ghost or spirit at that cemetery. But I would I was something else in high school, but some guys that I would bring in the cemetery, they would see stuff and I wouldn't. Like one time, I don't know who this was, I forgot. We go to the cemetery. What the fuck?
Oh, that's your phone.
Okay, she's gonna have to wait. But yeah, anyways, at first I was like, oh my God, is it the ghost?
We have one here, by the way.
It's her mom.
Is it her mom?
Yes.
I was gonna ask you if she had a child pass?
Oh, it was her dog. Her dog just passed away.
No. Well, I don't know. Actually, it was Robert when he was on here told a story when he was 4 years old, and his friend named Willie passed, and he was talking about it. It was very deep. I went outside. I was out there, and they have these cushions on the outside furniture, just a basic chair. There's no wind. I'm sitting there. Everybody walks inside, and I'm just kind of like taking a break, thinking about the transmission that I had with Robert and Sonda, because that's what this is. It's like this, and all of a sudden, the cushion just like someone picked it up and dropped it, and then the chair starts rocking back and forth. And I thought, wow, someone's here. That's cool, and didn't feel anything irregular. And I thought, well, maybe it was someone she lost. But then I realized when Robert walked outside what it was. Yeah.
Maybe it was his friend.
Willie. Yeah. It was cool.
I think it was his friend. So recently, Cindy Finks, who's house is this, she's like a mom to me. We're very, very close. I came over like a week ago, and I don't even know if we were talking about her mom. But we were sitting in the living room right there watching a show. And all of a sudden, like while we're talking, I see somebody like peek like this. And I'm like, I asked Cindy, I'm like, Cindy, do you see anybody here? She's like, well, recently her dog passed away, who lived a very long time, Gizmo. And she told me that she sometimes hears him, but this was not an animal. This was a human. I mean, not well.
I know
what I mean? Yeah. So I'm just like, and I instantly just feel like it's her mom. And I ask her, and she tells me she's felt her here before, and her daughter felt her in her closet she shared with me. And she got, I mean, it is kind of overwhelming to see and feel spirits. Like, don't get me wrong. It's overwhelming with all that. I still sleep with my light on. I'm 22. I'm pretty sure I'll do it when I'm 45, 60.
But you're doing it because you want to just lower the noise.
I don't want to see it when I go to sleep. It's too intense for me. I mean, I see literally beings, which are specific. I would like to say, okay, so archangels are technically aliens and angels. I feel like that's really what it is, though. But sometimes,
or just maybe names we give for energies.
But there's been times where I've seen tall ass aliens, and they were like black, and they scared me. Like when me and Chris used to be. I remember one time, not to get off subject, I'll get back to the next subject. But one time, we were sleeping, and this is one of the guys I used to date, and he didn't really believe in this, but he believed that like I had superpowers and stuff. So I remember one time I woke up and I was like, Chris, there's an alien in the room. He's like, Izzy, you're crazy. He's like, go back to sleep. I'm like, I'm serious. And he got upset with me. It was kind of funny, but I was really freaked out. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I need to do something. And I ended up sleeping on the couch. But the point is, and then in Midtown, I would see stuff in the sky. A girl that I was friends with for a very long time, which we're not friends anymore. We're not. After the Mulberry Mountain, everything, the truth hit the fan. And she was taking me home, and we saw like these purple balls in the sky. We saw all this stuff in the sky.
When we had that, go ahead.
Oh, no, keep going. What were you saying?
What were you saying?
I was going to bring back about Cindy's mom, but say what you're going to say.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we were in the living room, and I told that to her and shared that to her. And I told her, your mom just keeps peeking at us. I was like, I think she likes me. And she's like, oh, no, she does. I told you her mom's name was Jessie.
So with the J's, man, the J's and the M's, they're always popping up.
Yeah. So, so Cindy goes to bed, and I went to go take a shower. I always take a shower before I go to sleep, especially when I stay the night. And I left my boots in the living room, and I left my something else. And I just saw a huge white light. Like, it was so pure. And it was weird. What Cindy shared with me was her mother used to play with her hair a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like this hair right here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody moved it like that. And I was like, oh my God.
Do these things ever scare you anymore?
At first it was kind of overwhelming, but her mom was the first spirit that I have ever had, like, just, I'm not saying every spirit, doesn't feel like this, but her mother had a very white purity light. I've never
Mhm.
felt that. And one thing about Cindy is her house even feels like that. You walk in here and you feel like white purity light. So that happened. And I saw her. So her mom was like right here in this room.
Mm-hmm.
At first she had a purple light, and then it turned white when she came close to me.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do readings for people?
So it's weird.
You remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. And Mom got me those before she died, and I had those 11
What are
to
they? Tarot?
16, 17.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were tarot cards, and it was just like, I think those tarot cards now, if I read somebody, I don't need cards. I have some tarot cards at home. Kate got me them, but I have more of the magic in my hands.
Mm.
I also can heal. I've healed people before, like women down there with sexual demons and stuff, or somebody I know that had heart problems. I healed his heart.
How do you know how to do these things?
Well, I would ask you the same thing.
I'm not trying to be.
Wait. I'm being a smart ass though.
No, I'm not being smart.
I am.
I'm just curious. Like, yeah, I know you were. Yeah, I'm just curious. Like, how do you? Yeah, what's your
So
technique?
I think it's the same thing. Like when we just pick up on downloads and stuff like that, it just happens naturally, right? I mean, that's why I said,
Yeah.
what about you? I feel like you did.
I don't do a lot of that, but I mean, when I used to,
Well,
like in
no.
the early years, it was always just instinctive.
I feel like that is not something I offer right on the table because I go through my own things. The things I just said have only happened like less than 10 times.
Mm.
So they don't happen that much because, as we know, we are in intense timing right now, and it's all about self right now. It's, don't get me wrong, it's, always
have you
help people and stuff when you can, but
have you? Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
because a lot of people could relate to this too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'm not into astrology. I don't know the ins and outs. I think it's a great guidance. I have nothing against it. Ty's real good at it, but I know you're a Pisces, and I know the Pisces very well, and they're water and they're very deep, right? And I know that with your sensitivity, you have deep emotions, right?
Yes.
You got deep emotions.
Yeah.
And I know that's a struggle for people like you at times. And I, of course, being your dad, I've been privy to some of the highs and the lows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you seem to be like really handling that stuff. I mean, I think, as a woman and as a young woman and as a young person, young adult, you're going to tend to have more extremes at 21, 22 years old, whatever. But you seem to be handling them pretty well. Like you can get emotional or, get intense, and then you seem to be spending a lot of time by yourself. You're not calling me about it. And so,
yeah.
I mean, has that been part of this recent transformation, or is it, you feel like that your emotions or your relationship with your emotions have changed maybe, or they have a different place in your life?
So I feel like, yeah, I feel like, well, after Mulberry Mountain, the month of September was probably the darkest month I had in a really long time. November and December were kind of bumpy, and then we enter 2023, and just things have been a little bit more chill. There's still some times where I have my days and stuff, but I feel like I've been trying to practice. I don't know if anybody's into astrology, but if you are, you'll know what I say by this. By the way, Hong said something hilarious on there.
She always does.
You probably want to read it because it's really funny. Wait a minute. Did Izzy just say that if you get the sex demon down there, she can heal you with her hands? Todd, dude, do you have this Midas touch?
She's a nut.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. What were we just talking about? See, I'm ADHD. Oh, my God.
I forgot. Oh well, no, and I don't mean so much like the emotions. Like
Okay, the
so
emotions,
part of what I think people are coming to is our emotions have been unbridled, so they've just ran loose, and now we part of our transformation is gaining control of our emotions, not separating from them, but working with them. What are you reading now?
I'm reading Delia. She said something before. Shit, I purged even before heading there and dipped her in. This is it from Mulberry was huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Delia is definitely an alien too because
what made you figure that out?
her eyes. They're beautiful.
You should have seen her and her two twin sisters or triplets at the first.
She's a triplet?
No. It's two friends, two sisters and her connected at the first Soulogy Fest, and they were known as the triplets, and they all had the eyes.
Yeah.
All three of them. It was crazy.
Delia was doing some stuff at Soulogy that definitely, we all entered another dimension there. Like it was like in a way like paradise. It was pretty wild, like in the best way. And like I said, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Okay, so back to the question.
Where are you at with your emotions now? I mean, and I don't mean that like because you're my daughter. I'm just saying that it's impressive. It's impressive to me that we're all doing this. That we're all starting to not let our emotions get the best of us. I think Sonda talked about it really clearly today, and just talking about how it was actually me, Sonda, and Robert outside talking. They were talking about how we get in deep. And we start making up stuff in our head, even. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
and so the emotions can really have created a lot of chaotic stuff, right? But now we're starting to turn it, and you just seem more at peace. And I don't think that's just about the work you've done, although that's so important. But like it's kind of happening collectively. That's why I'm asking the question. Like, where are you at with your emotions? Do you have a different relationship or?
Okay, so this is when I was going to bring astrology.
Okay.
I am fucking mosquito shit. I am a Pisces. My moon is Scorpio. My rising is Cancer. My Venus is Aries, though. I think if I was a Venus water sign, I'd probably be a psychopath.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Venus in the water?
Venus is how you love. If I loved like a Pisces, I would burn down the world if I loved like that. And I mean that in the greatest way because being all water, being a Pisces, especially someone that's just like, here to, a star seed and here to see the unseen and help others see. But then being a triple water sign, I mean, Lauren's a triple Leo, and that explains a lot. That zodiac stuff actually, look at Morgan. Morgan's a Pisces, but she has like this rare to her. It's the Aries. Her moon is Aries. You're a good businessman, very, very, very genius smart, and you're very heavy with Earth. You're dominant Earth, but then your Sagittarius has your charisma and your big heart. I'm like Ty, your friend. I study all of this.
Do?
I'm very fascinated with all of it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I am. He's a Pisces too. I guess it's just in the genes of being a Pisces. But yeah, so I mean, now for being someone like me, out of all my dad's kids, he knows the most emotional one is me. I've always been the most emotional one. I still am. I remember every time I would cry as a child, especially a teenager, he would just start clapping. He was like, "Bravo, Isabel Medina." He'd always tell me I need to be an actress.
Well, you had genuine deep emotion.
I do.
And sensitivity, but sometimes you took it. So you would take it to. So her favorite thing to do. Can I tell them?
Go ahead.
Her favorite, because we had 5 of them in the house a lot of the time, and they would be like there would be like what? They'd be like say 12, 11, 10, 5, and 4. So Izzy, you would have been 5 at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so everything was a big thing. Like every time we ate dinner, it was a big giant thing, right? I mean, we had to prepare for 7 people and dishes and the whole 9 yards. And anyway, if you got upset, you'd run upstairs to your bedroom and start slamming the door back and forth. I hate my family. Bam, bam.
It's
But
not funny,
but it got to be. But well,
it's me. I'm laughing.
it wasn't.
Not you.
It wasn't funny.
I'm not.
We-
I'm not laughing
yeah.
at you. It was laughing. At
No,
you.
no, no. But no, I'm just saying it was. It was something that. And thank God your mother was very sensitive. Okay.
Did she get upset with me?
No. Like she was because she was a lot like you. You're a lot like her. She had that sight. Okay, so she was kind of sensitive to what it seemed wasn't what it was, right?
Yeah.
But
well,
we would. It was kind of
Mom actually had Pisces in her chart. So mom was all the elements. She was an Aquarius with a Leo moon, a Pisces rising, and a Venus in Capricorn.
I have no idea what any of that means.
So basically, mom, moon was in Leo. She was a free spirit. And her rising was a Pisces, which explains mom. Your rising is your personality, a combination of your rising and your moon. So mom was a Pisces. So mom was very emotional because mom was an Aquarius, and Aquariuses aren't really emotional like that.
Okay.
So I feel like mom's Pisces came out a lot because mom was extremely sensitive, and Aquariuses are not sensitive like that. It's because her rising was a Pisces, but Leos are very sensitive too, like Lauren. Lauren is so sensitive.
Your sister.
Yeah.
So the reason I asked you about, like, did you see any, or did you see, like, what did the star family look like? Because after Lauren had Vaughn, which would be like the first grandbaby, right, of this litter.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Yeah. So she was working late. She came back. Now he was probably about a year old, and she came back to her house, got him, put him in the bed with her, and they went to sleep. And because Lauren was very sensitive as a child, and I had a lot of talks with her about the things that you were talking about when the lights went out and it was dark. And I just kind of explained to her, don't get afraid, just. So what happened that night, now, so this would have been like 3 years ago. Vaughn's like 1, and she lays down and she feels someone pulling the sheet off of her.
Colleen's watching. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut it off.
Something pulled the sheet off of her. She put it over her head, right? And then they pulled it off again, and she looked, and there was 3 tall white beings.
Lauren?
Yeah, and they were speaking to her like in like a digital kind of, again, she didn't understand it.
So actually, to bring up Vaughn, my nephew, your grandson, and I don't think you ever went to Peggy's house. You went to the apartment.
I went to Peggy's. Yeah.
You went to her apartment, but you didn't go into the house when they moved up the street, right?
No, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah. So that house was haunted, and there was a man there. This is going to be kind of funny. Some people, what I say first, I didn't really, notice this was the reason why it was going on. But so when I got there of 2021, after I lost everything, when my spiritual awakening was coming, moving energy in my back. Okay. When I got there, I was sleeping in Lauren's room, and when I would take a shower, I would feel somebody there. It was so weird. And I'm like, I would keep like peeking in the shower, and I'm like, so I go downstairs and I ask Peggy, and I'm like, Peggy, is there somebody in this house? Because I've been feeling someone like in the restroom with me. She starts to laugh, and she's like, well, no, there's a man here. I'm like, really? Well, that explains that. She's like, he's probably watching you in the shower. I'm like, that's so weird. So then when I was babysitting Vaughn, we were in Lauren's room, and Vaughn would have these nosebleeds that Lo, I guess she used to get when she was a kid too.
Yeah.
but I didn't really feel like these nosebleeds were like something going on genetically. It was something supernatural. So
Right.
there was the man in the room, and it was demonic energy. Like, he did not have good vibes. Technically, the man didn't want anybody there. That's the vibe. So it's a spirit unwanted because he's not left where he was, gone at and stuff.
Right.
Not ready to pass over and stuff, and I remember Vaughn, I'm not trying to say my nephew's better than anyone, and I think everyone's equal, but I have never met a child like him. And I'm being
I think there's a lot of them on there like that. I had never met them.
Well, I'm saying from me ever
Yeah.
meeting them, I've never met one. I'm sure there's some out there, but for me, what I've seen in my life, he's the only one I've ever met like this. I'm pretty sure my child will probably be like this too.
But
he sees so much stuff. When this was going on, he puts his hand on my face.
Uh-huh.
And like, he's looking at me in my eyes, and he's like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. He spoke to me when I changed his diaper. Morgan and I went over there.
Y'all should see the picture of my dad changing the diaper. Oh, so up here, I peeked that Susan, what's Susan's last name?
Susan who?
Borstein or something?
Bornstein. She was at the Soulogy Fest. You remember her?
I don't mean to I didn't mean to misspell your name. Your name. I remember her.
From Canada.
She's from Canada?
Uh-huh. She's from, where is she? I don't see her there. No.
So she asked if I have a relationship with Morgan, and I don't, but I would love to have one with her. Yeah. We were supposed to meet not too long, like a long time ago, like 5 years ago, but didn't happen due to some stuff. But
you were going through something.
Oh yeah, I was.
That's when you were asleep though.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. Your sensitivities were up.
But they were gone.
No, when you left the townhouse,
they were gone.
That's when they were gone. They were still there when you were
there. They were gone a little bit
before.
I'm not going to bring that up, but yeah, it's something to do with something else, but of why they shut off, because something had happened to me. So, and when you go through stuff like that, it shuts off. Like, it just does. Traumatic things in your inner child. But when I was 19, when I was 18, it started appearing. But when I was 19, and that's actually when I first saw you.
When?
If I think of it. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay, so
20. So that would be.
I saw you in 2020.
2020.
When you dropped off Morgan from the airport, you were in Florida. You were in your RV.
Yeah.
We went to go get some ice
cream. That was 2020.
Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to go get some ice cream.
That's when you flipped back on?
Yeah.
That was all that Atlantean stuff. And your sister, who you were going to see.
That was the best she ever.
She's a straight up galactic.
One thing.
Your sister's a straight up galactic.
Lauren is definitely like, what's crazy? Lauren is extremely smart. So
yeah,
they did Vaughn's IQ.
Yeah.
And it is so high.
Yeah, that didn't surprise me. But Morgan's like a lot of these kids, a lot of these young people, they do have, but they're, I think, labeled or diagnosed as on the spectrum, Asperger's, ADHD and all that stuff. But yeah, I could see where he would have an extremely high IQ. All right. What else you got, Isabel? Anything else? What you got?
Well,
we can do it again sometime.
I would love to do it again. Sorry, there's a mosquito biting me. They love me, and I don't know why. Probably because I have O negative blood. Like Lauren and Vaughn. I got so attacked when I went to Florida. It was so bad.
Florida's bad.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Luckily, this dude I was talking to went to the Amazon and got this blood from a tree that literally like heals a wound like that, or heals mosquito bites. And I put it all over my body and it was gone within an hour. And I was like,
what the hell was that? Blood from the Amazon?
Yeah, that was like a guy that I dated that was white that had dreads. I mean, not dated, but just saw a little bit.
Jesus, another guy.
That was a while ago.
Hang on, we got a question. Jana wants to know.
Jana, the beautiful Jana of my fave.
Yeah. What do the other siblings say when they hear you talk
Hear me talk?
about this stuff? Don't do that here.
Sorry.
Good God, woman. Last question. This is it.
Okay.
Then we'll go so you can get on with your life.
I'm going to a show tonight, a drag show.
Cool.
To be honest with you, all of my siblings are very impressed by me about the way I speak, of what I say. Like last time I saw one of my brothers, he knows that I'm different. I feel like everybody knows. Everybody knows that out of everybody, I'm different. Like you're different than out of other siblings. Like I said that to Teddy, I was like, I'm the black sheep out of everybody, and that's how Dad is.
I don't think we have a black sheep.
I am the black sheep. What
Well,
are you talking about?
you're the gypsy. Let's put it that way. I don't think we had a black sheep.
I am the black sheep. You're the black sheep.
You're not the black. I'm not a black sheep. Am I a black sheep? You were the
But
gypsy.
who doesn't want to be the sheep? Because you're the black sheep. You're the goat at the end of the day. Shit. Damn, this fucking mosquito, man.
All right. Say sound. Sheila. We might come back on.
No, we are going to
one more brief broadcast. It depends.
Rainbow
I gotta
sheep.
take a break.
Love my Julie. Ernestine!
Mm-hmm.
You have grown and expanded within yourself. Well.
All right, we'll let you get on with your.
Everyone, I love y'all. Love everyone
fixation.
here. Thank you.